Hello, welcome to Painting with Jasmine Rempel Art. I'm Jasmine and today I'm working in my sketchbook. I'm going to be creating a piece of art to go along with this painting. This painting I did in my sketchbook and someone really liked it, so she wants to purchase it and she's asked for two other paintings to go with it, but she wants them to be 3 by 10, and she wants them in a vertical format to go beside on either side of this one. So before I make her good copies, I'm going to practice a little bit with some ideas in my sketchbook today. So I just thought you might like to join me and simply watch or join in and have fun playing along too. I'm going to be using the color palette that I have here, which is basically purples and blues, greens and yellows. All right, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is reach for a large brush. This is a number 12 round, and I'm just going to get this entire area wet. I've actually taped off a 3.5 by 10.5 inch area, and I want to get it all wet because I am planning to work wet on wet for the beginning of this painting. I'll be putting in a background, and then I will be adding some tall flowers, and we'll see what else. Sometimes spontaneously wonderful things happen as you're painting with watercolor. So I've put enough water down here that my surface is nice and wet. It's not overly wet in that there's pools of water running off of it, and it's not so dry either. It takes a bit of practice to figure out how much water you need on your paper for the wet and wet experience. Generally, I say if your paper starts to buckle, as the cotton from the paper absorbs the water, it creates a bulge. And if there's no little pools of water, then that's where I like it to be. Okay, so I'm reaching into a purple here, and this is Windsor Violet, and it's a nice dark value, a very cool purple, and I want it to be quite full of water so that it doesn't overpower the background. I'm going to add a little bit of ultramarine to it, even to help it to fade even more in the background. If something's blue, it'll go in the background. Okay, so I'm just going to start from the top and just do some taps on the way down. The idea is that these are either hollyhocks or they're delphiniums, and they're going to spread out. Ooh, I already love it. I love the way these blossoms are spreading. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm going to go into Cobalt Blue. And I'm going to add some right in here. And I'm basically going to do the same thing. I can see that I ended up having little pools of water right there as the paper buckled. So I'm just going to soak up a bit of this so it doesn't run too much, dabbing my paper towel on it. And that's all. And there, that's better. I can do that again as needed. Now the blue, as I mentioned, I want to do the same thing. Maybe coming off the side a little bit here. And there we go. Pretty. It's summer. The gardens are growing. I'm seeing lots of flower paintings lately on social media, and no wonder. We're all being inspired by nature's beauty right now. That's getting dry up there. Okay, nice, I like that. So I'm just going to let it bleed a little bit, bleed out a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do actually, right on top of these, I've kind of rolled up my paper towel into a little point, and I'm going to just go in and lift off some of this paint, and that way I'm going to end up with these just beautiful white flowers in the foreground. There's one, and let's go up here one a little higher. Nice. I need a new point. They end up looking rather haphazard, which is just right. That's what I want it to be. And I think we'll do one. Do I want it higher or lower? Maybe just about right here would be nice. Another one. And there we go. 3 of them. Super pretty. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a smaller brush. This is a number 4. I'm going right back into those colors. They're a little darker now because some of the water already is evaporated. I'm just going to, first of all, I see this is running farther than I want it to, so I'm just going to pick some of that up. No thank you, don't go that far. And I'm just going to do some little splatters of that purple. And then some of Cobalt Blue and Ultramarine, a little mixture there. And just a couple of little splatters again. Pretty. Now I would like some green in there. So I'm reaching for my number 8, and this is Sap Green, permanent Sap Green. I love it. I'll put that right there, and I'm going to grab some of this blue. Super, I've diluted the paint. Now some of this is starting to dry and some isn't, so we'll just see what happens here as I go down. Some of this grass, some of these leaves, very tall leaves, might spread, others might not. That's okay. Whatever happens, happens. My aim is to kind of have this, this is Quinacridone Gold. My aim is to have this kind of a dancing feeling with the foliage. Maybe one towards the center here. Good. Now this is getting quite dry down here, so I think actually now's the time to let this whole thing dry out. So I am going to go off screen and I'm going to blow dry this. All right, that's nice and dry now. I'm ready to begin building in the next layer. I've reached for a number 6 round, and I'm going to get some more of this Windsor Violet. That is very dark in value. And this time I think I'm going to warm it up a little bit by putting in this quinacridone. It's just, it's also a violet, but it has some red in it, more red in it. There. Okay, so I'm going to be putting on another Delphinium, if that's what they are, right in front of this one here. Maybe not quite as high. And all I'm doing is just using bits of my brush and just running it, or doing little dabs in a sense, little curves, leaving some of that white. I want to work fairly quickly so that there's certain things I want to do while it's drying. Now here's my white flower, so I need to save that and work around it. All right, now that I have a stalk and I've had a stopping place, I'm cleaning my brush off and it's damp. Excuse me. I'm going to pull out a little bit, pardon me, of the paint from the side. What it does there is it softens that edge so that I have some hard and some soft edges. Again, it's just a damp brush. Okay, good. And I've cleaned off my brush and it's dried out a bit. I'm reaching back into my pigment and I'm going to carry on. Underneath this little white flower. And what's going to happen is I'm running into another flower. Quite all right. Since there's a stopping place, again, I will soften some of these edges by pulling a damp brush along the edge. And this side. There we go. Back in. Running down. Oh, that's a big kind of a bulbish look. And let's call that the end. I feel like I want to fill in this area a little more. A big part of painting is feeling, looking, exploring, making decisions as you go. Okay. Pretty. I feel like I want to lift out a bit of color in some of these areas. So I have a brush where I've cleaned it and taken off a lot of the water. I'm going back in and lifting off so that I have more of these spaces ultimately. Maybe I'll use the tip of my paper towel here. There we go. That worked so much better. Hello. Love it. Actually created these cute little hearts. Okay, so let's go for a smaller brush now. I have a number 2 and I want to make a stem. So back into my olive, and I think I'll just use that alone, straight on as it is. Pulling down. There's a simple stem. I'll go into that blue and add a bit near the top. And just find the odd place to put that stem in. This was wet still, so that green spread out a lot. I'm just going to lift that up a bit. Good, that works. All right, now these need stems as well. And in fact, well, I won't worry about it quite yet. I'll decide what I'm going to do with this one. We'll leave it for now. I can lift off some of this paint and create a stem look. I want to, I've got a purple one and I want to create a blue one. So back to my number 6, I believe I was using. And let's go into this Cobalt Blue. Some green in there now, but I don't mind. I don't necessarily keep my colors pure, as you've probably noticed there. And that's a lovely blue, and let's actually take some of this Windsor mix and put that in there. Okay, I like that. All right, playing around with some chords here. Yeah, off to the side maybe. Not the same height. I want it to be a little shorter. Let's have it leaning slightly. Tap, tap. Trying to just dance on the page. Not being too fussy, because actually we're going in and we're going to do some more. I've met a white one, so let's stop and let's pull out some of that, some of those edges. Now my background, when I painted it wet on wet. If you're a beginner, that was called wet on wet. It was wet paint onto a wet paint on a wet surface. Okay, now what I'm doing here, or what I have been doing, is wet on dry. So I have wet paint, I'm just picking up on my brush, and I'm putting it on a dry surface. This is called wet on dry. I'm going to go down and find a stopping place, maybe just a little lower than this one. Okay, super. Bring it down a little more. No, goodbye. That's the nice thing about wet paint. You can lift it up with your paper towel quite easily. Okay, I have made my brush clean and damp, and I'm just going to pull out on this side here, soften the side, and maybe right in here. Good. Wow, you can sure see those white flowers popping right out now. And in fact, let's make them pop out a little more by giving them a center. So I am grabbing my number 4. I'm going to go into Quinacridone Gold. Love this color. And I think I'll dilute it with a little bit of the purple. Not dilute, dull it. So let's just look at what it's going to look like. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to use that for the centers. And just, honestly, this is wet on dry. And I don't want them to look overly fabricated, so let's run this along and let it bleed out a bit if it wants to. Bring a little more on this guy. I don't want them to look round. This one's partially round, but it's got a bit of white there, and I like that. And I like the way this one's looking, so good. We'll leave those for now. Add maybe a little shadow or a little highlight in them later. Stem. Okay, I'll use the same brush. Let's go into that Sap Green, and I'm going to use the Quinacridone right in it. And let's make another stem. There it is. Now it's going to be wet here. I learned that the last time, so I'm not going in there yet. I will bring this stem up here. Let's just tap in with my, yeah, I'll just wait to add some green into those areas. Oh, how pretty. I need some leaves in the foreground. So we've already got a nice color mix here. Let's use some of that. I've got a small brush. I'd like to reach for a bigger one though. Here's my 6. The nice thing is this is sketchbook, so I am playing the whole time. There's no pressure to have it perfect. Actually, some paintings that I just love come right out of my sketchbook. Okay, so I just push down and then lift it up to its tip there. Again, push down and lift up. Bend that one a bit, just because. And lift and push. Oh, love that. I'll put a little blue in the bottom here. Darken up just little shadows in a few areas. Also, it's nice to bring the blue here into there to create unity. All right, so I'm loving the way this looks. Could I do more stems? Most certainly I could. Let's get a smaller brush. Sorry, not stems. I will need to do some though. So why don't we do that now? Okay. Maybe we'll do dark ones. I'm going to reach for my liner brush for this. There it is. Also called a rigger. And let's go into that Quinacridone Gold. And let's go into Ultramarine Blue. Let's mix the, ooh, look at that. Nice dark value. Let's get some more blue in there. And that's as a stem, what's going to happen is it's going to pop forward because it's darker. And I might even put a little more blue in there. There we go. There. Super. One stem. Let's make one coming the same area too. And this one, I think I want it to be kind of more leaning this way. Think. No, not coming out of the same bundle. There we go. Good. Love that. I'm going to darken it up near the base. This one. With some blue there. Good. Looks like it's behind this leaf. Okay, I like that dark color. Let's use it maybe a bit in here. I think that's fine. Let's make some leaves out of that nice dark color. I've got my number 4 round. By the way, these brushes are called Silver Black Velvet, and they just have these lovely points. You can use the fat side or go into this tiny little line you can draw. It's just really a lovely brush. You can do a lot with it. Do some small grasses in the front. And let's just add some Cobalt Blue to this and get it quite diluted, and let's even bring some up along here. Oh, that's a big one. Okay. All right, it's just a sketch. If you don't love it, just think this is a sketch. Sometimes I don't love something I do in a moment, but then I love it later. So I have learned to go with it. Yeah, I already don't mind it. Okay, I'll do one right there. Good. Tall leaves, short leaves. Lately, I've been going through some health issues of concern, and the garden has been true therapy for me. So, this is why I love to paint flowers. All right. Oh, you know what I forgot? Something I love to do. We are going to define these delphiniums. Could be hollyhocks if you wanted. Just going around an edge here, edge of the circle, and another, and another. And before it dries, pull out that edge. Just like that. Soften that edge. There. I'll do some more, maybe a little lighter in color. Kind of little half circles. I'm sort of using the side of my brush. Sometimes I'm putting them around the white markings, and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm pulling them out to spread, and to have a soft edge, and sometimes I'm not. I like that. Okay, same with the blue. This is the kind of a green-blue mix, green-blue-purple. This is the French Ultramarine. It's quite a nice dark. It'll look good in here. So let's start. Some blobs, some circles, some C's, just some curves. Trying to be sure it's highly random, because out in my garden I have these gorgeous blue delphiniums and they are going every which way, and there is nothing completely linear with them or perfect with them. They're just nature, right? So when I'm painting, I'm trying to tell myself, be loose and free and make marks. And the marks, if you have that looseness and the joy with it, those who see your art, they feel it. They know this was created. You can just tell when something's a joy. Adding a few little extras to the top, some that haven't quite opened yet. Okay, I want to put in something right there. Here's I'm actually reaching into some Cad Yellow right now, and I'm going to brighten up the side of it there. Nice. And now I'm going to make some bees. I love bees. I need bees in the garden. I'm sure you agree. Okay, so for my bees, I'm starting with this Quinacridone, bit of purple. There we go. Here's one right there. Eager for a drink. One right here. Maybe one right on here. Sweet. Now, I want to go in with Payne's Gray Black, but not until they are dry. So, in the meantime, let's do some splattering because I love to. So, here's my purple, using my number 2. Just tapping. And let's do actually some of this nice yellow. It'll look like pollen. Try some out here first. Sure. We add a bit of that warm cad yellow to it. Aha. Let's be brave with this. It's pollen up in the sky, down low. You probably cannot see that, but you have to believe me that there are lovely little yellow splatters. And some blue. All right. Speaking of the blue, I'm getting it quite wet. I feel like these beautiful little flowers could use the odd. That's quite a bit darker than I wanted. I'm lifting some off. Could use the odd shadow. Random shadow. Yeah. Let's do another one. Good. And lift a bit. Nice. Bees. This is number 2. I also have an even smaller one that I think I'll reach for the bee stripes. This is a 000 round brush by Windsor Newton. So let's go into my Ivory Black, and let's also go into my Payne's Gray. There we go. And let's give these guys a little head. Oh my goodness, I hope you can see that. Let's zoom in a bit and see what happens. Let's move this over. Okay. Check that out. Yep, you can see now. Kind of looks like a larva more than a bee, but it won't. 2 little antennae. There they are. So legs. It's going to be collecting pollen, of course. And for the wings, I'm using this blue-purple mixture. And I'm just going to go up. There we go. Some wings. Simple as that. Maybe I'll actually do some on the other side too. No, its legs are there. I won't. Let's make it a little bigger. Oh, nope. Okay, erase. Erase means lift. Lift the color. I'm getting fiddly. Can't help it sometimes when you do things with detail. I'm just wondering if those look like wings. Okay, here's the problem solving part of art. Let's put some water in there. And let's lift it a bit, and that's lighter, and I'm leaving it. I'm calling those wings. Okay, let's move over to my black mixture, black-gray mixture. Let's put a little head here. Oh, you can't see that. Or can you? Let's go down. There you are. A little bit of black for the head, and antennae, and some stripes. And are these realistic? No. Do I care? No. It's an impression of a bee. Good enough for me. And let's do the last one. In fact, let's zoom in even more for you and see if I can help. There it is. Okay. Water drop. Okay. Well, maybe this guy's going downward. It's a little head. Antennae. Cute. You do know that I'm a school teacher, right? I am elementary school teacher. So, thus, my love. Well, I don't think you have to be a teacher to really love little cute bees and things, but I definitely have a childlikeness in that love. All right. There. Flying around. Zoom out. And I like it so much. In fact, this might become one of the ones that she ends up receiving rather than on here. I'll make a few and I'll ask her which one she likes the best. Just gonna sign this. Grabbing a bit of purple here and a bit of blue and a bit of green. Yeah, I've got kind of a grayed color. I just typically sign with my initials. Let's find a good place. It's very busy down here. It's dry though. Maybe just on the leaf here. J.R. Jasmine Rempel. Okay, time to peel the tape back and have a little peek. Oh, I like it. I can pretty much hear music. Some nice summer song or the buzzing of bees. Goodness, I hope you enjoyed our time together and I hope you're able to be inspired to create. Please, if you do, get in touch with me. You can find me on Instagram, Jasmine Rempel Art, and send me a message and maybe a picture of something you created inspired by this. You can also, of course, leave a comment and put a like or subscribe to my channel if you want to see some more. All the best. Happy painting. May you be creative. It is highly therapeutic. All the best. Bye for now.